So the Chiefs got an offensive tackle that Andy Reid really wanted in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft, and this is a guy that is going to come in and help raise the floor of the offensive tackle room and potentially be the blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? Just like that, night 2 of the 2024 NFL Draft came and went. The Chiefs had just one pick in the second round because when they traded up for wide receiver Xavier Worthy in round 1 from 32 to 28, the Buffalo Bills traded back and the Chiefs basically swapped their third round pick for Buffalo's fourth round pick, which meant all the Chiefs had was that second round pick at pick 64. And they actually did make another move at the end of the second round. It was basically trading one spot with the San Francisco 49ers. So they went from 64 to 63. The 49ers just went back a spot. They swapped later round picks. I think it was like a 5th for a 6th or something like that. Troy will put the graphic on the screen of exactly what it was. And with that selection, they chose offensive tackle Kingsley Suamataia. And guess what? I'm not going to say that last name again for the rest of the video because I've looked up how to say it and it's pronounced 18 different ways. So from this point on, he's Kingsley, the king himself out of BYU. This man is 6'4", 326 pounds, 34 1/4 inch arms, and 10 5/8 inch hands. So big guy, tested very, very well with his relative athletic score. I mean, if you look at it, he is basically an athletic freak. Everything but his height, I guess, even though he's 6'4", that's fine. A little undersized, I guess. Some would prefer 6'6", but whatever. Everything else clears. It's basically all on the green minus his vertical jump, but his broad jump was there, his 40-yard dash, his 20-yard split, his 10-yard split, and basically his relative athletic score being a 9.40 ranks him 83rd out of 1,377 offensive tackles from 1987 to 2024. So the Chiefs are getting a guy that loves football. They're getting a guy that is extremely athletic and still has plenty of room to grow because he's only 21 years of age. Now, the reason why the Chiefs traded up one spot, because you might be like, well, why in the heck did they trade up one spot? Another team could have been wanting to trade with the 49ers. So the Chiefs were like, heck no, we want that spot. We want to shore up our guy because Andy Reid supposedly had been sweating for the last 10 picks because of how badly they wanted Kingsley as their tackle. Again, he's a tackle from BYU. Andy Reid went there as well, so he has a soft spot for him, but that is not why they got him. It's because they believe he could be potentially the next blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes. And when you look at the draft board here at the end of round 2, you had the Ravens take Roger Rosengarten at pick 62, and the Chiefs were like, nah. And then at pick 59, a few picks prior, the Texans selected offensive tackle Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. So the Chiefs wanted to go up and just make sure they got their guy. I believe they even said that a potential need for the 49ers was an offensive tackle, even though at pick 64, they drafted Renardo Green, the cornerback out of Florida State. They just wanted to go up and make sure they got Kingsley Suamataia. I said it again. I apologize. Now, to be clear, Kingsley may not be the bona fide starter right away. Wanya Morris might be given the nod, but this does make the competition in that room something to be desired, something that was definitely needed. Brett Veach said in his pre-draft presser that he thinks Wanya has, some good progress from last year starting for Donovan Smith when he was injured, but it is his job, talking about Brett Veach, it's his job to bring in competition, and that is exactly what he's going to do. They could also potentially draft an offensive tackle later on in the draft. We will see about that. And also sign a veteran like they did with Donovan Smith last year after the draft. They could do that again after this year's draft to bring in even more competition. But let's get to the strengths and weaknesses of Kingsley and see how he could potentially fit in with the room right now. He's got the prototype size and build for a tackle in the NFL. Talked about his freakish athleticism earlier. He displays solid footwork, got a very quick step off the line. He's got a boxing background, which can help with his hand-eye coordination and hand techniques. He played over 1,300 snaps at BYU, splitting nearly half at them at right tackle, then most recently at left tackle. That's where he played all last year. Now, as far as some weaknesses go, he's got inconsistent awareness deciphering blitzes and pre-snap motion. Time and technique still needs refined. He appears to get fatigued against tougher competition. And per Dane Brugler of The Athletic, one scout said to him and his team, on record, quote, "I just don't think he's ready. Hopefully he doesn't get thrown to the wolves right away." However, he's a super tough athlete, very young, only 21 years old. So in theory, he has time to grow and learn. Maybe the next couple of years is where we see him start to peak. And then when you have coaches like Andy Reid and offensive line coach Andy Heck helping him all along the way, it's only going to make things that much better. Kingsley spoke with the media tonight saying there was a lot of emotion as he was waiting around to get drafted. His agent actually texted him saying, "Hey, the Chiefs traded up," and he felt tons of relief and was crying a lot because of how hard he worked to get to where he is now. He's, quote, "so ready to be a Chief." Talking with Coach Reid felt like home, felt like he was sitting around with one of his uncles when he visited KC on a top 30 visit, saying he really enjoyed his time with the coaches, even got to meet Chris Jones and said it was freaking awesome. And if you didn't know, the NFL is literally in his bloodline. He's cousins with the Sewells. Linebacker Nephi Sewell is with the Saints. Penei Sewell is the all-star offensive tackle of the Lions who just agreed to a big 4-year, $112 million extension. He's learned a lot from Penei over the years. Then Noah Sewell is a linebacker with the Bears, and he's had even more family in the past playing the NFL as well, which means, again, this is literally in his blood. It's what he was born to do. He was made for this game. Kingsley said blocking for Patty Mahomes himself is mind-blowing and a real dream come true. He thinks he's going to fit perfectly in the offense, wherever they need him. He's willing to do whatever it takes to get that job, whether it's the right side, the left side, even kicking in as a guard, whatever it is. He is down for the cause. He's healthy and strong and just needs to learn the playbook. Then he's ready to go. So after 2 picks, they got their wide receiver situation somewhat settled. I think they might still potentially draft a wide receiver later in a later round tomorrow. But then they sure up a very serious need, in my opinion, at the offensive tackle position. They weren't able to get a guy in the first round that maybe is going to come in and be an instant starter. But Kingsley is a guy that can develop and hopefully be the blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes that they all potentially hope he can be. We'll see how the fight looks between him and Wanye Morris, but I am very happy with this pick, guys. Again, freak athlete and very young, still can progress, grow, learn, and develop, kind of like Xavier Worthy that they drafted in round 1. Freak athlete, very fast, but young. He just turned 21 today, I think might have been Xavier Worthy's birthday. So both of these guys are super young, love to play ball, and will do whatever it takes to come in and help this team get better. At worst, I think Kingsley is a swing tackle for the team, but again, they drafted him in the second round, potentially with the hope that he can come in and be a starter. I think that's the most ideal thing. Just saying, worst case, tackle depth. That is something that's much needed. Prince Tega-Wanogho was the swing tackle for the team, and from what I understand and can recall off the top of my head, at midnight when I'm recording this video, he is still a free agent and no longer with the team. So offensive tackle depth is what they needed in the draft, and they got it in round 2. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this pick. Was there another offensive tackle you thought they should have went and got? I will say this. If A.D. Mitchell made it all the way down to 64, I would have been tempted to have them just draft Xavier Worthy's teammate and just say, F it, put up 50 plus a game. It's fine. But they obviously need a blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes. A.D. Mitchell ended up going to the Colts in the 50s, made the decision much easier. That was a luxury pick if you could double dip that early at wide receiver. This was really the much more needed, most efficient way to go, in my opinion. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this pick. Then let me know what you think is going to happen day 3. With all that being said, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?